You don't have a motivation problem. You don't have a discipline problem. And you definitely don't have a talent problem. You have a planning problem. Your calendar is full. Your task manager is overflowing. Your roadmap looks impressive in meetings. And yet, projects stall, priorities blur, and the goals that matter most quietly slide into next quarter. Here's the uncomfortable truth. More planning rarely fixes bad direction. 400 years ago, Japanese samurai learned this the hard way. Not in workshops, not in strategy decks, but in moments where bad planning didn't cost reputation or bonuses. It cost survival. And surprisingly, their approach is far more practical than most modern planning advice. Today, planning usually means more. More goals, more KPIs, more dashboards, more alignment meetings. But what actually happens is simple. We confuse movement with progress. We optimize tasks before questioning direction. We build systems for goals that shouldn't exist in the first place. We stay busy and feel strangely stuck. The samurai had a word for this. Noise. Noise clouds judgment, and judgment decides outcomes. So before they planned how to act, they obsessed over deciding what actually mattered. A samurai never entered a battle asking, "What's my to-do list?" They asked one question instead. What must be true when this is over? One clear outcome, one dominant objective, not 10. There's a story about Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's most famous swordsman. Before duels, he didn't obsess over techniques or weapons. He clarified intent. Once intent was clear, tactics became obvious. Modern translation: if you can't summarize success in one clean sentence, your plan is already broken. Most modern plans fail, not because they're unrealistic, but because they're directionless. Teams work hard, individuals stay busy, but no one can tell you what actually matters most. Samurai planning started with subtraction, not addition. They believed clarity doesn't come from better organization. It comes from knowing what to ignore. Now, here's the second mistake modern planners make. They plan for optimism, best-case timelines, high energy, perfect conditions. Samurai planned for reality, fatigue, disruption, mistakes, uncertainty. They didn't just ask, "How do we succeed?" They asked, "What will try to stop us? And what do we do when it happens?" That's not pessimism, that's intelligence. This is why so many projects collapse under pressure. They were never designed to survive real life. Samurai planning had 3 practical rules. First, one clear direction. Second, anticipate friction. Third, commit fully once the path is chosen. No constant replanning, no endless second-guessing, no chasing every new idea. Once the direction was set, hesitation disappeared. And this is where modern professionals struggle most. We keep goals flexible, but commitment weak. The samurai understood something we've forgotten. You don't need more options, you need fewer decisions. If your work feels scattered, it's not because you lack ability, it's because you haven't chosen a path worth committing to. In the next video, we'll talk about how the samurai kept improving once the path was chosen. Not through motivation, not through willpower, but through systems and continuous improvement, what later became known as Kaizen. Because clarity sets direction, but systems create momentum. Most people think progress comes from intensity. Big goals, big effort, big breakthroughs. The samurai strongly disagreed. They believed progress comes from systems. Once direction was clear, they stopped obsessing over outcomes. They focused on repeatable actions, small improvements, made consistently, over time. Centuries later, Japan gave this approach a name: Kaizen, continuous improvement, not dramatic change, not heroic effort, just constant refinement. Here's why this matters for modern work. Goals tell you where you want to go, but systems determine whether you ever get there. A goal without a system is just optimism. Kaizen turns intention into inevitability. Samurai trained this way every day. They didn't overhaul their technique constantly. They adjusted posture, timing, foot placement, tiny corrections that compounded over years. Modern professionals often do the opposite. We redesign everything when something fails. New tools, new processes, new frameworks, and then wonder why nothing sticks. Kaizen asks four brutally simple questions. What did we plan? What actually happened? Why was there a gap? What's the smallest improvement we apply next? That's it. No drama, no blame, no reinvention every quarter. Just learning. This is why Kaizen works so well for projects, careers, and personal goals. It removes pressure. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be slightly better than yesterday. Here's how to apply this practically. First, define the system, not the outcome. Instead of launch a successful project, define the weekly actions that make success likely. Second, expect friction. If motivation drops, what happens? If time disappears, what's the minimum version you still execute? Samurai never relied on feeling ready. Third, review frequently, but briefly. Weekly reflection beats yearly strategy. Ask what worked, what didn't, and what one small change you make next. Kaizen is not about speed. It's about stability. And stability beats intensity every time. This is why systems outperform goals. Goals end, systems evolve, goals depend on motivation. Systems survive bad days. The samurai didn't win by chasing outcomes. They won by refining behavior, day after day, quietly, relentlessly. If your progress feels fragile, stop chasing results. Build a system that improves itself. That's Kaizen. Clarity sets the path. Systems move you forward. Continuous improvement keeps you there. That's not ancient wisdom. That's how progress actually works.